a landmark day for the future of English football, as Manchester City, well, they believe they won their legal case against the Premier League. The Premier League saying completely the opposite, that they've won. So, who do we believe? But City say they've won their legal case against the Premier League over the league's rules on commercial deals involving the club's owners. This is not related, of course, to those 115 charges that they're facing. So we've got the joy of that still to come.
We'll get that to look forward to.
We both need to take 6 months out.
I hope they don't run together. That'd be a disaster for us. I'd like them to play the whole thing out, so we've got a couple of years on this at least.
I wonder if the Premier League think these are warning shots across the bow, though. We're taking on such big boys.
Absolutely, it will be. Do you not think so?
Yeah, I do think so.
Yeah,
I do think so. But City have put down a marker.
Yeah. This is a wee of what's coming. I don't know. It's just it's pathetic. It's not pathetic's not the right word, but I don't know. You're right. Working man's game. It's just completely lost touch.
So look, if like many, including me, including Ali, you don't understand it, football finance expert Kieran Maguire joined the kickoff show last night to explain a little on what this all means for Manchester City.
Manchester City can still sign sponsorship deals as they could before, and perhaps they can do it a little bit quicker. I think the Premier League was hoping to be able to prove that the rules that it created very quickly after Newcastle United were acquired by the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund were going to stand up, and they're not going to stand up. I think we have to have a big rewrite there. I think City are probably ahead on points in the sense that they will take from the verdict that the current rules are deemed to be unlawful. It's very legal, it's very procedural, but they've probably just nudged ahead.
Yeah, and that's the bizarre thing, isn't it, that both sides are claiming that actually they've come out on top. I think what it does mean, the big beneficiaries, was interesting the way they lined up, wasn't it? On one side were Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea and Everton, and on the other side were all the rest of the big guns. So
well, that was going to be my question. Does this affect everybody? I mean, well, for example, will the owners at Doncaster Rovers be shaking in their shoes this morning when they wake up with the news that the loans might not be given interest-free?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
am I showing enough disdain for this morning? I'm not sure.
Yeah. If you're the owners of Doncaster Rovers, you don't care. You've got Luke Molyneux. That's all that matters as far as they are concerned. But look, the man who broke the story, chief football correspondent for The Times, Matt Lawton, joined the H&J show yesterday afternoon and spoke about the chaos that's going on right now.
Look, I just think right now the Premier League is, there is civil war here. There is, it's very messy. This is not a good place. While we're enjoying watching the football on a Saturday and Sunday, there's a lot of friction here. The original story we did back in June was the fact that I think you had 8 or 9 clubs giving evidence in this particular case. In support of the Premier League. The clubs are divided. It's a messy situation, and the consequence of this, I come back to these shareholder loans. If you are Arsenal with over 200 million quid's worth of shareholder loans, this is a worrying development.
Oh, it's brilliant. Are you going to read it out, or am I?
Yeah, you do it. Morning, Billy.
Brilliant, Billy. Billy immediately reckons it's Ten Hag's fault.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Oh, Billy, man alive, it's 10 minutes past 6 and you're the first man to put a smile on my face this morning.
Yeah.
That is tremendous, mate.
It is
nothing short of tremendous.
Look, we need something to smile about, because with the best will in the world, when I came in yesterday, I didn't think I was going to be talking about associated party transaction rules this week. It doesn't set you going, does it, too much? Look, I mean, I don't know how we stop this now, because as they said, the genie's out of the bottle. Yeah. So what do you do? Do we just say to everybody, go and spend what you want to? I mean, I just don't know.
No, Jeff. I mean, that is way above our pay grade. I don't know is the answer to the question, but what I can tell you is, I think that you and I would speak for the vast majority of football supporters up and down the country and say we're just kind of sick of the whole thing.
Oh.
I'm pig sick of it, really. I mean, the bottom line is, if they're guilty of the other 115 charges, then like every other club in the league, whether it's Everton or Forest, then they should be punished, right?
Yes.
They deserve an opportunity to prove their innocence without doubt. But I think this is just it's probably, well, it's not problem, but definitely be factually correct, but it looks as though it's a kind of shot across the bows from the Manchester City lawyers to say this is only the beginning. We'll dig into everything and we'll tie up knots.
Totally. It was actually refreshing to turn Sky on last night and watch Bradford City against Newport County, because it's proper football and it's about the football and it's not about all of this stuff that's going on the fringes there. Look, I'm assuming, obviously, goes without saying, that Manchester City are going to be one of the beneficiaries. Chelsea, Newcastle, they'll probably be the beneficiaries. Look, Martin Ziegler's chief sports reporter of the Times joined the Sports Bar last night to try and give us a bit more insight into which clubs will benefit from this ruling.
So I think the clubs that will be pleased about this will be those like Newcastle United, Chelsea, any clubs in a sort of multi-club ownership model, any clubs which have sort of relationships with state-owned entities, i.e., so like the Saudi Public Investment Forum, Manchester City themselves. I think they will be pleased. I think Manchester City's establishment rivals like Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal will be the ones who fear that this may tip the balance even more in Manchester City and perhaps Newcastle in the future in their favour.
There you are. So effectively, the gap will get bigger. Big clubs will get bigger. Wee clubs will suffer. Have I got that right from Martin?
I mean, absolutely.
So then again.
But when the Saudi money came into Newcastle, so far they've been unable to spend it, haven't they?
Let's be honest with it. And that's the one thing that's done. It's slowed the process down, which will be inevitable, where Newcastle eventually will be in the top 2 or top 3.
But what I'm assuming now is we were talking about Chelsea, Newcastle, Manchester City, Everton, 4 clubs on one side. That means there are 16 Premier League clubs on the other side. Aren't the Premier League just going to change the rules?
Well, it looks like they'll have to, Jeff. Very much looks like they'll have to, or those 4 clubs will get their way. And financially, it will just be a matter of time, because they'll get to the top because they've got the most money. It looks like the clubs with the richest owners, not that it's changed an awful lot, the clubs with the richest owners will benefit.
If you're just waking up and listening to this and you've already got a headache, then I'm just going to take you away from it all.
Turn over.
Just for a moment or two, because Dell, the cabbie, is a Palace fan.
Oh, Dell, beautiful.
Says, tell Ali, I just got back from the NC 500. It's the North Coast 500, isn't it? And the west coast of Scotland is magnificent.
Dell.
No wonder the Scots spent 300 years kicking the English out, because I would too. Wouldn't want anyone to share that beautiful scenery with anyone. Great show, guys.
Jeff, Dell is 100% right. Now, I'm a West Coast of Scotland man, as you know. There is nothing more beautiful in the world, and Dell's spot on. See up there, if you get the weather, it's fantastic. Even when it's wild, it's tremendous. It's rugged. It can be fierce, you know. But the coastline in the West Coast, that North Coast, West 100, 500, even when you get around to the West Coast. I mean, I go fishing up there. I go way up as far north in the mainland as you go, Dale. Way up to Durness and Laxford and Kinlochbervie, away up there. And we walk and we hike and we fish. And you know something, Dale, you're more than welcome to come your holidays. But you need to get back down to London to drive that cab.
Yeah. Well, the NC 500 is actually 516 miles. And I just wondered, Dale, what was on the meter at the end of that? It is 6:16. We want to hear from you this morning. What do you make of yesterday's verdict? And are you worried about the future of English football? That's next.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.